Now, Democratic Congresswoman Elissa Slotkin of Michigan. She's a former CIA analyst and is now a candidate for U.S. Senate. What are the big questions that come to your mind in this case?
Well, look, I mean, many of us who are on the security committees, we have a classified brief later on today with the Pentagon to understand the true damage, that comes for something like this. But I think the lessons are, look, we live in a world where a lot of young people in the military have a lot of responsibility, a lot of access. We need to relook some of that and make sure we're, keeping people who only have a need to know on some of the most sensitive things. But I think the lesson is also accountability. This guy was caught in a couple of days, and they're going to make an example of him, and they should, in my mind, because you sign an oath, you take an oath, and you sign a piece of paper and say you're not going to share. So, some of the quotes that are coming out from some of my peers are, as you noted, just beyond the pale, I think, and they've just lost their way in terms of being Americans who care about protecting the country. So the lesson is you do this, and we follow up, and you get caught, and we make an example of you.
Congresswoman Slotkin, good morning. Jonathan Lemire. Two questions for you. One is, do we have a sense as just to how damaging and how sensitive this intelligence is that has been now released publicly? And then I guess the second part is the question that so many people have asked me in recent days is, how does a 21-year-old Air National Guardsman, how on earth would someone like that have any access to something like this?
Yeah, I will tell you, though, on the question, him being a National Guardsman, I mean, he was an IT specialist, had to have access to systems. Not sure he had to have access to all the intelligence on those systems, but he was the fix-it guy on the system, so you sort of understand. But I got to tell you, as someone who has worked alongside the military my entire adult life, if you're asking why a 21-year-old has access to sensitive information, you don't understand how the U.S. military works. The U.S. military entrusts incredible responsibility to young people starting at 18 years old. It is not, some fancy college campus. It is taking young people and putting in their hands really sensitive things. Look at an aircraft carrier. Look at a nuclear sub. I mean, we put a lot of things in the hands of young people. So I don't understand that question, really. What I think is fair is why is someone who's a guardsman, who's doing IT, have access to some of the most sensitive information? That's fair. And how do we restrict that? That's fair.
We'll be watching how this case plays out. I want to switch to the issue of abortion, or in other words, the health of all American women. And there's a decision on mifepristone due to come down pretty soon. Where is this all headed?
I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I hope that the Supreme Court acts, before midnight tonight. They put a stay that expires today. So that was their deadline. So I assume they're going to say something. And it's going to be a pretty pivotal moment in a couple of years of pretty pivotal moments on the issue of choice for women. And I think it just reflects the fact that, we overturned Roe. They overturned Roe. Certain states like Michigan have done yeoman's work to preserve the right to have an abortion. But they're not going to stop. The people who have a problem with abortion, with a woman's right to choose, for women who are raped, for women who are the victims of incest, for women having a miscarriage, because this drug is used for women who are in the middle of a miscarriage, they just don't care, right? It's political for them, and they're not going to stop. So we either have to understand that and act accordingly and defend constantly, be better on our game, or we just are going to accept that they're going to chip away, and a judge in Texas can affect the right to choose in a place like Michigan.
And as you said, voters in Michigan made a big statement on this issue in the 2022 midterm elections, and perhaps in your run for Senate as well. Different topic for you, Congresswoman, and that is the debt ceiling. House Republicans have said they're putting forward a bill as early as next week, but clearly using it as a bargaining chip to get spending cuts. The White House has said we're not open to negotiating about the debt ceiling. Raise it, or else with the faith and credit of the United States is called into question, and it hurts our economy. What is your sense of how this plays out?
I mean, my sense is the Republicans have to figure out amongst themselves, do they want to be the group that sends us over a cliff, that changes, maybe potentially forever, how American currency is viewed, how the American dollar is viewed, how, our ability to be a leader in the economy, the worldwide economy. And so they have some decisions to make. But at this point, they've said, we don't want to, we want you to live under the debt limit. We don't want you to spend all this money. But they haven't shown their cards on what they want. want, right? It's like they've taken someone hostage and they have not given a ransom note. Like, what do you want in order to get us out of this situation? So clearly there's some internal problems. They need to work that out. I actually am glad to see Mitch McConnell back today, right? Because I think he's been a more reasoned voice on this, particularly compared to House Republicans. So I'm hoping they get together and do the right thing. We need a straight extension of the debt limit, and then we need to negotiate like adults on the budget of the United States.
Congresswoman Elissa Slotkin of Michigan, thank you very much for being on this morning. And